So before we start, just be careful when we're walking. The biggest danger is like twisting ankle probably because of either a step or like the step right there. Just be very mindful where you're walking, mostly, you know what I mean? There's not too many nails sticking out. I try not to rub up against walls because sometimes there are because it's not enclosed. But you should be fine. Watch your step. That's the biggest thing where you're walking. Okay. So, when I bought the property, and the property really goes from this edge here, it's actually that yellow pin, approximately where I'm standing. It actually goes to, you all can see the fir trees, not the one to the left, but the next one, the one that's a little lower between the others. That is literally the property line to the electric box, the green electric box, the 10 meter, all of that. It's a narrow site. It's actually, it was originally 50 foot by 110 foot. It's like a normal urban site. And so when I bought it, it had some drawings, and the house was actually, they proposed was going this way to maximize the view. And they're allowed, the shots on Zillow or whatever when they were selling it was like trees, 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 mountain view. And it's haze today, you can't see it. But, and I said, okay, that's what I want, right? Now, the design of the house, what I know, because I was looking at property over there on the other side of the hill, and when you look up here, a lot of these houses, they're great now, watch out for the car, they're great now, but in the winter, you have to ask yourself in the winter, how are you going to get enough light? And so that property over there was on a north slope, and if you took all of the trees out on the property, which you're allowed to do, you'd still be surrounded by 150-foot trees. I wanted to ground the house, where you had an outdoor space that related to the house, connected. You go outside of the steps. And even here, there's going to be another deck. So I needed to be able to like get outside of that space and get enough light. You fine tune that angle or whatever, like the ladybug analysis. And then that rock over there is another good clue. That's the ground. Right? That's the ground. Which I originally had planned to do the possibility of a granny unit on the top floor apartment. And when I bought the property, it was 6,050 square feet. But when you chop off 3 feet times 110, you no longer have 6,050 square feet. 6,000 is the minimum. So I lost the ability to do that. In the future, they might change those laws. So it's still possible on building it like that, but I won't have that resource. So that's really exciting. And then keeping in mind, we're going to walk through the third floor and the second floor. That's the main house, right? That's the main house. Lit, high ceiling, you'll see. It's almost its own like 650 square foot bedroom. Could be Airbnb, could just be a den, whatever. Yeah, this is mine. There's no garage. There's basically two cars could fit here, right? You're always required to have one car off-site, like off-curb. You have to park a car off on your property. But because of the granny unit above, you need a second one. So I designed it for two. They're tight, but it fits. It's 16 feet, so 8 foot, 8 foot. Too big, like Ford 350s. But cute little car and a Vespa, that's your sweet.
So the load bearing only goes to the start of your deck, correct? So that is the what's still dug out will be your
yeah, that's basically going to get filled in. I'll hold this yellow line so you can see the geometry. I pulled the curb is going to get filled in here. All of this is going to get filled with gravel until that line. See it? So you get that slope and then that slope. That's all. Questions? Other questions?
They run the support for that metal bridge in the frame system of your house.
No.
So that's all tied together, or is it just sitting on the shearing wall?
So, because of seismic separation, which I was told we had to do, the bridge is not really connected to the house. If you look carefully underneath, it's cantilevered in are two posts with cross brace, and then that lands on a pier on the retaining wall. But there's an inch gap between the bridge. So it's but it's the cantilever is done pretty well so that you don't see it. You just think it's connected, but it's not. It's actually hitting that.
we actually get much seismic activity here. Is that precautionary?
Apparently we're going to get one that'll just destroy everything pretty soon. We're overdue.
It'd be apocalypse 2.0.
Yeah.
It should be
Okay,
by 2025.
let's go inside. Dining in front of that big window. That window there, that's dining. There'll be like a desk there, and then this is the living room, TV wall, wood burning stove, and then the kitchen. Most of you are in the kitchen now. You can see like the blue mark is the island, and then the other. So it's a big open space. Ceilings are 9.5 feet. You got about 40 feet for the entire building, section-wise, and you have to distribute that. Yeah, really this is like coming in straight off the street. There'll be a wooden door. It's a bit of an issue, like for privacy and a weird feeling, so it'll be a nice solid door. And that's really it. You could take turns coming up to the front, but I wouldn't everyone jump up front quickly, but that's really it for this floor. I don't know if there's anything else to talk about. The windows are all tilt and turn. So notice how they're opening inward, nice amount of opening this way. They also do this, right? Oh, that came off, but I have to screw it in. It's not so unpainted. So they tilt. That's actually, they say, a lot of air. But you do this and have it mounted all the way to the inside, you get just a feeling of being outside. The screens are all jumped up, but I take the screens out, whatever. Questions? They're mostly all operable, except for that one, and the one in the stair over there.
See, you got one artificial light spot there, Philip. I'm curious.
Oh, lighting.
What's your thought on lighting? I mean, obviously you get a bunch from this one, and
Yeah.
a few from there, but
Lighting's more like nighttime. I think this is enough light during the day. At night, yeah, that's a pendant for over the dining table.
okay.
Some wall wash. The TV's there. The kitchen will have its own kind of task lighting, pendant light over the top, that kind of thing.
Have you not established that yet?
I'm in the process right now. We have to get the right fixture. Electric is kind of next, but you also don't over design it sometimes. You kind of lead your wires through, get your spots, and then you just have to decide between whether that's a pendant or a wall wash, depending on the box, the J box that's there. Yeah.
Sweet.
So we're gonna go downstairs to the bedroom level. I'll explain once everyone's down here. Okay, so this is the bedroom level. So where we are right now is the principal bedroom right here. And so it's pretty compact, or it's pretty modest, and that also has to do with having a unit above and a unit below. You get kind of rooms that just work. It's also like I'm coming from a city, from New York and whatnot, and so this definitely fits. I have a furniture layout, but not a lot more. There's room. It's basically room for a king bed, could be queen. The closet over there got a little smaller than before, than I thought. So instead, what I'm going to do is line the entire wall with this whole wall with cabinets and not enclose it. This door opens out to. There's going to be a steel deck over there that orients to the view. And that's really the only reason for that door. The only reason for that door is so that when you have lunch, and this is a little problematic, but it's kind of a compromise of just doing a tower house, that how does everyone get outside? So if you have lunch prepared and you want to go out to the deck over there, you got to go down the stairs, and then you pop underneath the path, under the bridge, and pop out over there. We'll see how that works. The plan B is to go out the front door and have some steps that way. But the principal bedroom, principal bath is there, and it's also modest, but it's all wall hung. So wall hung lavatories, wall hung toilet, and then a steam shower, 3.5 foot with a bench. So that'll all be pretty, I think, quite functional. Floating things off the floor, off of the walls, will make the space seem like it's at least open a little more.
Where does your steam shower end? Where
it's right at the line of the. If you look down at the floor, it's 42 inches. So it's.
Oh, I see. Yep.
It's approximately there. Yeah. So where Abe is the second bath, right, for the kids or for the other side, and that has again a wall-hung toilet, wall-hung lavs, and he's standing exactly where the bathtub would be. Bath shower. And if you squat down, Abe, you can look out the window and get a view of the trees if your head was on the back side, yeah? The windows, like as I'm sitting in that tub looking out, I kind of tried to actually think about the view through to the trees and not the neighbor's pool. The windows are definitely, you can see when Abe closed, now go ahead and close it, Abe. They're smaller than I thought. The whole house was designed for Marvin Integrity wood windows, but I ended up talking to someone about these tilt and turns, and I like them so much and function, blah, 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 but I didn't kind of catch reframing all the openings. And they're really thick. I'll show you a sample upstairs. So they're really thick if you notice the amount of meat. So that thing ends up looking like a boat portal, unfortunately, but it is what it is. And this is my first house using these windows. All the other houses I did them are this could be a study, right? And you could actually, people could come in the door over there and have a workspace. If you think of live work during COVID, this could very well be a study. I think someone already mentioned that. The laundry is right there behind Kate, right? So that's going to be stacked laundry dryer, HRV, heat recovery, that's what the ducts are. So the house is so well sealed, this is a typical thing, you need heat recovery ventilation, which one gives you fresh air. You could put a HEPA filter on it for the smoke, shut your doors and windows. And also in the winter, it recovers the heat but gets fresh air through the kind of engineering of it, of exchanging the thermal property of the air, but yet gets some fresh air. And if you look at the nailing pattern at the seams, they're really tight. Yeah, they're every 2 inches. If you look at the other side, you'll also see the ends of the steel rods that go all the way 5 feet into the bedrock, right? This little thing called a take-up device. So right before we put the drywall on, I'm going to pull that pin. Don't do it now. And then that pin is going to indefinitely, you can see here, indefinitely hold this thing tight. So this is very actually common system for multifamily housing out of wood, because see this plate and those plates and that plate, those 3 pieces of wood alone are 4.5 inches, but apparently they will shrink up to 1/4 inch over time from the heat and the pressure, right? Imagine that times 4 or 5 floors. That's 1.5 inches. So that's a lot. So you have to kind of, at the very least, more importantly from a structural point of view, you don't want this really loose. So you want that to always be tight, even though those things are shrinking. So those are called hold down. So these drive themselves all the way through. I'll show you the fabric.
So there's intentionally a teeny bit of space right now somewhere, so that I guess I don't understand how that.
Yeah, no. It's tight. It's tight now, but you see how it's, look, I can unscrew it. Don't worry. But like, I keep it tight, but it's going to shrink, and then there's going to be a gap in there over time. So I pull that pin, and what it's going to do is it's going to cause this, like, the rod that's inside that is going to push on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Always. It's like some massive spring or something. Like, it's radiant heating, which is really efficient for heat. And then for cooling, it relies on cross ventilation and also the solar chimneys through the top, which get the noise. So you got to deal with that. And then I would say almost living so much time in Spain, it's like the bedroom levels want to be caves because they want a siesta in the middle of the day. And so you get a relatively dark floor. Ginger thinks it'll get a little lighter when you put the drywall up everywhere. You're going to get all that bouncing light off of the rooms.
I think it's kind of interesting you didn't put the primary bedroom with the view.
Yeah.
Noise?
I either had to do with geometry of just fitting it over there with the house coming to a point over here, or the protectiveness of wanting the parents at the street. Like I didn't want, didn't want kids at that window on the street kind of thing.
Didn't want them sneaking out.
Kind of thing. We could sacrifice them. That's one strategy. But
ideas for that wall? Any like built-in for that wall at all?
Could be shelving later. I'm so overwhelmed right now. I just want to get a drywall. But afterward, you could just as well do shelving. That would like take that space up. That's probably what you're thinking.
Are you gonna do all the drywall?
I don't think so.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. All right. Next floor.
Yeah, that's true. But you can support something.
You got bounce, 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 bounce.
So this is your radiant setup?
Yeah. You could go straight through, but just be careful.
Oh, look, we can all stand
Okay.
at the same time.
I'm excited.
We gotta hurry up because the other groups are coming. So, this would be, think of this as a 650 square foot apartment. This is your living area here, living dining, kitchen here, so kitchen sink, oven, refrigerator, counter, pull the columns off of the wall. Look at the size, Look at the size of this bar, right? Pretty nice, meaty. It gets thinner as it goes up. Here's the same shear wall that Abe was like pointing to last time, right? Same one carries through and then goes all the way down. You'll see the rods on the back side. So bedroom over here, main bedroom, and then this is the bedroom. Those are both operable. And then the table here, that's an actual egress window to code. And I don't know, it's all kind of basement.
How's that sill height working out?
It actually hits the 44 from there to there, but you just have to be standing over there when the fire department comes. And then this is the bath toilet right there.
I appreciate that you like that rock exposed, like should polish it up, like, dude, that's really cool.
You should get like one of those stone baths so that like all
So we're at, I think, a 9-foot ceiling. So there's almost more light on this floor than the floor above, if you notice. Higher ceiling, more windows, bigger windows. You're into plumbing. There's some kind of widget plumbing work up there, and otherwise we can pop outside quickly.
So this will be kind of its own
Do they have another
little
one?
apartment.
But
Like, you can imagine like
your space, that's all.
like some sort of
And then the path goes out and
yeah, canopy or like sort of like.
I was until the deer, the deer eat everything, and then I said, okay, forget that. So
Start planting blackberry.
let's head upstairs so I can get to the next tour group. Back up.
And another life as a safety officer. Thank you for
Okay.
this is your product. Yeah.
Sure. So, we're gonna go upstairs, but I wanted to just explain, there's another door coming here. So that'll allow people to come into the office without going into the house. And they'll come into this vestibule and go upstairs, but if everything's friendly, or it's part of the house, you could also use this as a mud room. Take your shoes off, put a little chair, there's a bench designed here and some cubbies, and then this is a kitchen door. So you could also just go through this to get to the house.
Be good in
As
the
a mudroom.
winter when it's
Yeah.
actually muddy.
And I added this window because it was so dark, but I thought, hey, I'm going to add that. Because it's a cool artistic idea to have dark and kids crying in the corner. But then you go, I probably want a little map. I want to explain the space here a little bit. So this is the solar chimney. This is what's cooling the house. It's hard for you to see. You can kind of come back this way. Those two windows have little Italian motors that allow the windows to tilt open. You couldn't put those on a pole anyway, you can't reach them, but that's going to be operable on an app. And I'm actually creating a sensor system for the whole house, like a number of windows, to test, okay, those open, the hot air goes out. This space heats up on purpose to create a greater heat difference for a stack effect. And then that's going to pull cool air from below. A lot cooler below, you felt it, right? The house has no insulation, but that basement. So the question is, what windows on that side of the house where it's cool are going to be places to, it's really hot in here, you open the windows, there's no way for that air to get out unless it pulls in from somewhere else. So you could be very strategic about the key windows you open, don't just open them all, to pull cool air. Your first instinct is to open everything. That's kind of okay, but you're not going to get the house to create a natural venting effect. There are strategies you can do that will cause it to vent. We'll go up there next. So this is the office, the home office that was kind of designed as an apartment. This is, there'll just be a big long table in the middle, and then in the end, one end, another little like meeting table. When this was designed as a granny unit, it was bigger than 600 square feet. There's a 600 square foot limit. So that's the painting studio for the main house, which could either be part of this office, or because the door is in the common stairwell, flexible. So you got a teenage kid, you got to get rid of them, you need a little space, or you kill each other. They go up here, they're their bedroom, right? Versus the other bedroom down below. Because there's really only 3 bedrooms, and that's not huge for a house. I swapped out glue lambs for, this is what you're going to see finished, plywood and glue lambs instead of TJIs. And then there's just a ton of insulation above. It's like R60 above. Where's their outdoor space? We're so far up the building. Remember, the people below can go out down below to that. This is their balcony. So what the idea is, in the winter, the sun's lower, and you can actually put a table here and feel like you're kind of outside, but you're still inside.
Fascinating. This is a really cool idea.
You'll see the drainage. I don't know if that's what you're seeing here. The drainage, I'll show you above. There's a flat roof. There's a drain. It goes into the wall over there, and then it's going to come out the bottom. And I'm going to create, like Stephen has at his tea house, at the gallery space upstate, the archive, on a pump. So you're not waiting for the rain, but you hear the sound of water. And that's also going to block people from walking where they shouldn't down below. But then when it rains, the water filters through that. Questions up here? Then we just have to do the roof deck, and then I've got to catch the next group. So there's a roof access, but you have to watch your head on the beam. Everyone, Everyone hear that? Go ahead up, Isaac.
Ooh, it is toasty up here.
Yeah.
Watch your head.
Feet run down.
Okay. All right. So this is absolutely the worst time to be up here. This is perfect in the winter, not now. I need to build a model, has like a trellis overhead, but the city didn't like that idea because they thought they would complain. I will probably build some sort of shading device in the summer, but honestly, just you don't come here in the middle of the day. We're gonna plan a pedestal roof system where they come up in order to get maintenance. And that's gonna add a few inches, but still keep it high enough that when you're on your like third cocktail, you're not going over. I mean, not without jumping.
Oh, you do have one neighbor. Oh,
That neighbor, yeah, they can see, but otherwise you have like a pretty neat ceiling. And if you tuck behind, if you were sitting lower even, if you think of the acoustics, it really cuts the sound. Whereas if you put your head up here, it's much louder. Right here, it's literally like 20 decibels higher. To get the next group in, no, I don't think so.
So as long as